On January 6th, 2024, I made a video and posted it predicting how I thought the year 2024 would go. See how I did. I'm Dewan L. Hearn. I'm more affectionately known as the Moon, and this, of course, is Moon Equals Wrestling. Now, I made about 10 predictions at the beginning of the year on how I thought 2024 would go. I thought about waiting until 2025 on my 2025 prediction show, which I will do. I wanted to see how I was doing so far. Some things are definitive, some things are still to be determined. So let's just kind of go through and run it back and see how I did. The first thing I predicted was a pretty obvious one. It was that Roman Reigns was going to be losing his championship. And he did at WrestleMania 40 against Cody Rhodes. I think we knew when he won at WrestleMania 23, he was probably going to lose at WrestleMania 40. As they shifted back and forth with the Cody Rhodes Rock situation, we weren't really sure. Like, no one knew. But the right call was to take the title off of Roman, give him some time off, not like he needed it, but time away from the title. And now Roman is in a position where he's dealing with the bloodline, and now he's good for the chase. So I think we did pretty good on this one. This is one. The second thing I predicted was that Jim Ross would retire. Um, as of now, to my knowledge, Jim Ross is only doing wrestling pay per views for AEW. It does appear as if this will be his last year. I'm going to count this as, we'll count this as an X. I was going to give myself credit for it because honestly, he's most likely going to get, take this as his last year. But in case he doesn't, um, I don't want to give myself too much credit ahead of time. So we're just going to say I didn't get this one right yet. At least, at least not yet. At least not yet. For what it's worth, for what it's worth, I think Jim Ross should retire. I have so much respect for Jim Ross and what he's done in wrestling over the years that I think it's only appropriate that he retire on his own terms, not in a situation where he's fired for something or his health says otherwise. I'd rather Jim Ross say, this will be the time that I will retire and thus retire on his own terms. I think Jim Ross has earned that in my view. The next thing I said was that our Truth was going to win Serious Gold. And by Serious Gold, I mean not some jokey championship like the 24/7 or the hardcore title. At WrestleMania, our Truth, along with The Miz, became tag team champions. And I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier that he was a serious champion. Still not a super serious character, but I'm really hoping that that shifts. I'm really hoping that as funny as our Truth is, Ron Killings is incredibly talented, especially for having been in the game for as long as he has. So all that said, that's a win. I got one for that one because he did win a series championship. They have since lost it, but now he's in a feud with the Miz. I think things are going to go pretty good. Number four, that's subjective. But the number four thing I predicted was that TNA's landscape was going to change. It has. TNA is no longer Impact. I think we knew that was coming when I did my prediction show. And now TNA wrestling has absolutely changed its landscape with the partnership with NXT. It is. It has only gotten better. New stars have shown up and they're doing big things. And I'm really happy for TNA. I want them to grow. Bound for Glory isn't far. It might be this weekend, thinking correctly. And the landscape has absolutely changed for TNA. You have the NXT stuff, you have your current champion, Nick Nemeth, and we lost Scott D'Amore um, to backstage politics. So the landscape has definitely changed. I get a point for that one. That's a good one. I predicted that Shelton Benjamin would go to TNA, and I was wrong. Shelton Benjamin just had his debut match last night. This is a Thursday that I'm recording. So Dynamite was last night. He had his debut match last night on Dynamite against Leo Rush, and he's all elite. I was wrong about that one. But I did know he was going to come back to wrestling, and as one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, I'm really, really happy to see him back. And I'm actually kind of glad that he didn't go to TNA because, like I said, I don't get the channel that TNA is on, which is why I don't talk about TNA more than I do. So it's nice to be able to see Shelton Benjamin on a show I can watch. Willow Nightingale winning the AEW Women's Championship. Now, she won the TBS title. That wasn't the title I was talking about. Talking about their women's world title. Willow Nightingale fought for the women's championship at Wrestle Dream. And listen, I know that this is the first video that I've put out since Wrestle Dream, and Wrestle Dream was a pretty big deal. I did not catch the actual pay per view, as I've stated before. Um, I'm going to do my video on the state of AEW now. There's been some shift, and I have some thoughts and opinions, and it kind of applies to AEW more than WWE anyway. So when I do my state of AEW, I will be discussing Wrestle Dream and the Brian Danielson angle with the BCC. Very careful with that one. The Blackpool Combat Club. Still want one of their jackets. But I mentioned Wrestle Dream because Willow fought Mariah May, who is the women's world champion, at Wrestle Dream unsuccessfully. She did not become the champion. So the year's not done. She's got plenty of time to run it back with Mariah May and get that chance at that championship. So hopefully before we count down New Year's, Willow Nightingale gets her hands on that piece of gold. We're still rooting for you, girl. Sasha Banks returning to WWE. I was wrong. They tried. Naomi came back, but I guess AEW had a better deal. Maybe there was still some issue because Vince was still there for a minute. Lots of reasons, none of which I'm aware of. Ultimately, I don't get a point for this because he didn't go back to WWE. Her contract's going to extend with AEW longer than the rest of the year, so there's no chance of me being right later. So I missed out on that one. I really would have liked to see her come back and help Bailey out of WrestleMania. Even if it was before she officially signed a contract with AEW, just did a one off, that would have been nice. But hey, I don't write the show or negotiate contracts, so Tiffany Stratton enters the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble. I got that one. She came in at number 29, right near the end. Did not win, but now she's currently Miss Money in the Bank. I think she is going to catch in on Naya, probably sooner rather than later. She will win that championship. Tiffany Stratton will be women's champion. It's going to be a great day. You're going to hear from me on that day when it happens. Promise. I said Cargill would face Bianca Belair. They are currently tag team champions together, and this is actually the right call. This is a better call. Establishing, you're going to get Cargill versus Belair. We're getting it. We're not getting it yet. We're utilizing Belair to maximize Cargill right now, and them as tag team champions. It's fantastic. It gives Cargill credibility. She already has 2 title reigns in WWE now, so that's good. And we're going to get that match, but it's not going to be this year. I Unless they do a quick turnaround and something crazy rando happens, it's not going to happen in 2024. I would say we're probably going to get one of those, and I really hate the trope. We do it all the time. I think we're going to have the trope where Cargill is going to either be blamed or blame Bianca for them losing the tag team championships, and that's going to cause friction, and then you're going to get that match as a result of that feud. I hope we don't. I hope they do something a little bit more creative. Even if it's just they happen to meet in a tournament, then I'd like to see Cargill versus Belair. We almost had it, and then we didn't. They were smart to delay it because, as much as I'm looking for it, other people want to see it too. So give them time. Let this brew out. Let this play. Don't give it to them yet. We can wait for it. This way, when it happens, it means something more. Smart call. And lastly, I said that Swerve Strickland will become AEW World Champion. We've already talked about it once before here. It happened. It definitely happened. Uh, I loved Swerve's championship title reign. I think he's going to get another shot at that championship. But right now, the story behind the championship is surrounding the Blackpool Combat Club and John Moxley. So let's not put Swerve in that mix just yet. I think we have Swerve in the mix with MVP, which means we're going to get Swerve with Benjamin, Swerve with Lashley. Um, and that's going to go for a minute. That's going to pull Strickland away from the title picture for all the right reasons and just long enough to do the things. So overall, since I didn't give myself credit for the JR retirement, it's a 5 out of 10. I was halfway there. Um, a couple of them were absolutely wrong. Benjamin did not go to TNA. Banks did not go to WWE. We still have time for Cargill, but I don't think we're gonna have Cargill Belair this year. So yeah, I mean, there's still room for Willow to win the championship. So here's hoping that I'm right, and I can, at my predictions for 2025, I have the ability to uh, give myself an extra point for that one. Yeah, that's it. Uh, that's what this video is for. That's what this episode is. This is just me seeing how I did with the predictions, and well, that's it. I appreciate, you know, however many of you all have stuck around for the last 15 minutes to hear me check on my own score and check myself. I am trying to do more concise videos, kind of similar to this in the last one, where I kind of just stick with the point, go through it, and then call it a day. Thank you for those who have watched the 4 parts of me and Brian Haas discussing the McMahon docu series. I appreciate all of that. I think I'll leave some time at the end of the video for you to catch some other things. One in particular, I did an interview with author and huge avid wrestling fan John Cosper. It's a fantastic interview. It is an hour long, but it's totally worth it. He's a wealth of knowledge and a great dude. So if you get a chance to watch that interview, you should. If you haven't subscribed to the video, go for subscribe to the channel, like the video, do the things, be a doer of things. In the meantime, moon out.